Robert J. Wright, Erin McCarty, she's gone today. Don't forget guests on Keel appear via the Jack Spring Electric Keel Newsmaker Hotline. Dr. Jeff Sadow, political analyst, pundit, blogger, writer, pretty smart guy. Hey, Dr. Jeff, welcome back to Keel. How you been? Pretty good?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
I've been excellent, thank you. A couple of really interesting, really great columns that you wrote at thehayride.com over the last few days. And let's start here. Here's your headline. Politics, not data, shape Louisiana's slow reopening. Politics, I assume you are implying that it was political decisions made by the governor, John Bel Edwards. If that's the case, why and what political decisions did he make that caused a rather slow reopening?
Yes, it was the governor, and here's why. You look at the last time we were at this inflection point about whether to move forward with reopening around the end of last month, and there are reasons given by him at the time as to why he didn't proceed in that fashion, mainly that a couple, 2-3 regions of the state weren't showing the progress that he thought they should be showing in terms of things like slowdowns in cases and the like. Well, I went back and looked at the data, and I couldn't understand why the conclusions were drawn, how they were drawn. You would look at the areas that he said weren't a problem, and that was the area where you were seeing the most increase in, or the slowest decrease in cases. You looked at the areas he said that were a problem, and they had very little increase in cases. So now we fast forward to last week, and you have the same situation. It's just maybe a few different regions, but there's still a few that says are kind of problematic and others that aren't. But yet now it's reopened. So, it looked like almost the same situation, just maybe a few different, distributed a little differently. And yet at one point it's not good enough, and then all of a sudden 2 weeks later it's good enough to reopen. So I don't understand that.
I have sort of floated a trial balloon a couple of weeks ago, and it's obviously not something that anyone will ever admit to. But let's use Governor John Bel Edwards as our example. Do you think the governor has gotten calls from the DNC, from Pelosi, from Schumer, from somebody high up in the Democrat Party that have said, do you think you can keep it shut down another couple of weeks? We're trying to screw Trump here.
As far as politics go, I wouldn't put past such a scenario happening. I could envision something like that. Doesn't mean it happened, but...
Pardon me, Jeff, let's make it a little broader then. If it hasn't happened to the governor of Louisiana, would you think it's a pretty good bet that it's happened to the governor of Michigan or governor of California or governor of New York?
New Jersey, yeah, you could throw in a few more. Sure, again, I don't think it's beyond the realm of possibility to have something like that happen.
Let's shift gears here a little bit. There's lots of talk. In fact, was it a $3 trillion sort of a second bailout bill came through the House of Representatives the last couple of days, and it's going to the Senate. And your other column, your other article at thehayride.com, a moral hazard with Cassidy's and Kennedy's bailout bills. Well, Mr. John said to us that he was really a little leery of a second bailout bill. Bluntly speaking, Cassidy, not so much. What do you think's going to happen? There's a whole bunch of Republicans who have said that it's got no chance of making it through the House. What are the grounds that you wrote this column on?
Yeah, really, I think it's more the Senate. I mean, the House, its bill has some of those items in there that basically what they're trying to do is shovel money to states to make up for loss of revenue. Senate leaders have pretty much said that's not going to happen. President Trump's pretty much said he's not going to sign anything like that. So, yeah, I don't think anything is really going to come of it. But that's the idea. And as you mentioned, Cassidy and then Kennedy to a lesser extent, because he kind of wants to use existing money, so to speak, have been behind the idea to kind of again make up for lost revenue by the states.
Do you think how much of what is in the bill coming out of the House, the Democrat bill coming out of the House, the wish list, money for illegal immigrants, vote by mail, everything that might be attached to that, do you think any of that has a chance of being attached to the Senate version of this bill, the Democrats using the strategy, you don't care about people, do you think that there's enough rhino-type Republicans who will buy into that and vote for it?
At the end of the day, no, probably not. There are a few senators, Republican senators, that essentially agree with Cassidy and Kennedy, and there ought to be something done about the state revenue picture. But I don't think there's anything that could be thrown in there, or it can be any combination of things that could really get a majority, and certainly the Senate, a majority of the Senate leadership, Republican leadership, to go along with something like that. So I don't think these bills really are going to go anywhere.
You pay real close attention. Do you have any idea, if it's $3 trillion coming out of the House, do you have any idea what the amount might be? If we were to hang an amount on what might be the Senate bill in a couple of weeks?
If we're talking about, again, a bill that would just be there to make up for the state's revenue picture, it would be a lot less. Probably, my guess would be between half to a whole of $1 trillion.